Okay, so let's talk now about your hero's journey, which may also be more of a heroine's journey, depending on the stuff that you have needed to work through this lifetime. We will talk more on the distinction between the two in class. What I wanted to do now was share a little bit more about my heroine's journey, um, to really get you to think about this at the level of detail that is required for you to really tap into how everything that you have been through up to now has led you to this point, to your mission, to your soul's work, so that you can really anchor into it and start to shift any of the things that you are still holding on to from the past. Um, and as I talk this through, what I want you to do before we meet is do a little bit of future journaling. So once you get through this space of these are all the things that I've been through, it's then thinking about, okay, well, what's the narrative that you want to take forward? What's your story now? What's the what's the story, the version of you that wants to come through so that you're really embodying the person who is about to execute this big mission from a place of it is safe to be all of me now. Because safety is the number one key component in you actually going out there and doing this thing. And so often the things in our past are what prevent us from feeling safe, or we tell ourselves it's what prevents us from feeling safe, and then we don't take the actions. So, my journey, so many things to share, okay? But if I think about some of my younger experiences, my I lost a grandparent when I was young. My mum's mum was ill for many years, when I was very, very little. So her energy and focus was elsewhere. She also had my sisters. I've got two younger sisters, like relatively soon after I was born. So she was sort of focused on looking after babies, trying to look after her mum, trying to get her head around the fact that her mum was dying. Her dad had already passed, when she was a teenager. So there was all of that sort of stuff going on at home. It was a very controlled and controlling environment. I can look back now and see that there was a lot of anxiety in the house, and the way that that got dealt with was through these controls. Um, I learned very quickly that if I was going to survive in that environment, I needed to be super sensitive to everybody's energy. I needed to act and react in a way that didn't kind of rock the boat. I needed to be the parent and the mum because my mum was preoccupied doing other things. Um, and lots of things happened at the start of my life. You know, at age 7, my mum's mum died the same year that we moved house, and I also changed schools. So then I had this whole experience of really feeling very alone. Like there wasn't a lot of support at home. I was going to a brand new school. I didn't really know anyone. And there were all of these things that happened to me that felt really, really hard. Um, I was bullied at school. I didn't feel like I fit in, probably because I didn't, right? Um, and one of the ways that I made sense of, survived, adapted to this environment that I was in was to eat. So layer in this, like, wasn't really feeling like I was getting any emotional support at home, felt very alone, like food became my sanctuary, food became my safe place. Um, so I ate lots, but there wasn't like readily free access to food at home. So I used to go and take it from the cupboards. So then there was this extra layer of shame of like, you're a common thief, you're taking food, you shouldn't be having the food. And then put on weight. And so then there's this extra layer of you're disgusting, you look horrible in clothes, like body shaming stuff. The world that I was in was very controlled, very anxiety led, not a lot of emotional support, the way I gave myself that soothing and the support and the love that I needed was through food, which then came with a boatload of shame because how I looked was then also not acceptable to the people that were taking care of me. Um, and this sparked off this very, very long battle, really, with myself and my body. So I disconnected from myself. I used food as my coping mechanism, but I also learned that being in a bigger body was not okay. And so as a teenager, I then became bulimic. I wasn't eating properly. I would overeat. I would binge. I would purge. All of these different things as this way to sort of try and cope with the realities of life. All of these things disconnecting me more and more and more from my body and myself. I learned that if I was going to be accepted and lovable, I needed to be very successful. And the way that success was measured in our house was how did we look and how clever were we and how much money were we making? So I became super skinny, went off and did my law degree, and went and got a job that paid a lot of money. So I was out there trying to tick all of these different boxes, but the underneath was self-loathing, actually. I wasn't really aware of it at the time, but you don't love yourself and then do that to your body. You just don't. Right? Um, and yes, it was a way to try and cope, and yes, it was a way to try and manage, but um, to eat food and then throw it up does not come from a place of I love myself and I'm connected to my body. Um, so the bullying at school, the bullying at home kind of then continued into bullying in the workplace. And again, the way that I adapted to this was through perfectionism, through people pleasing. If I could be perfect, if I could keep everyone happy, if I could control everything, then would I protect myself from what was going on? Play and fun, didn't even know what those words meant. There was not a lot of play and fun growing up. Um, Going to law and doing a law degree, I mean, like I was good at it, but it wasn't like my zone of genius. And I was surrounded by people with these posh accents who had been to these posh schools, and that was not my experience. And it was all just very, very challenging, right? So playing fun was just a no-go. Um, Also thrown into the mix from my childhood was parents who originally struggled financially, but then made money, had money, but couldn't enjoy it and couldn't spend it. So my money story and the patterning around money was you have to work hard, you have to earn money. If you're going to be valuable in the world, you need to make a lot of money, but it's not going to make you happy. And also, when you've got it, you're not allowed to spend it. And you must only buy the cheapest of everything and scrimp and save. So even though I'd got all of these things, I still then wasn't enjoying my life. I was overworking. I was trying to people please. I was trying to be perfect to everyone. I was hating myself. I was hating my body, in complete denial about all of these things, right? If you'd have asked me at the time, I'd have been like, no, everything's fine. And even when I left law, people said, oh, like, we had no idea. You always just seemed so happy. You know, the masks we wear can be very, very convincing, even to ourselves, right? Um, so all of that control, all of that wanting someone that didn't want to feel alone, wanting people to come and save me, that then all filtered through into my marriage. So that was all very challenging as well, like wanting my husband to be a certain way so that he could meet these needs that hadn't been met, not his job. Um, and then it all came crashing down in 2018 with burnout slash the start of my great awakening, but just getting to this point of I can't carry on like this. I'm in a job I don't like I'm killing myself. It wasn't just soul destroying, it's like I'm literally destroying my body. Like, what the hell am I doing? And I want to share all of that background because there was actually a real lot of stuff that I had to work through to get to this place of It's safe to be all of me. I'm going to do my soul's work in the world. I'm going to live my mission, right? And if I can overcome the family challenges, bullying, food stuff. I mean, and those of you with food stuff know that that in and of itself is all encompassing, right? The controls, the complete disconnect from my body, the complete disconnect from my body, right? The lack of playing fun, the absolute messed up relationship with money as well. If I can overcome all of that to be a person who literally supports other people get into their bodies, heal their bodies, move stuff through their bodies. Because I reckon I spent the first 30 years of my life pretty dissociated and completely disconnected, right? If I can do that, then you can do your mission. And then the work here is to look at how did all of those different things, how did all of those different aspects, how did they lead me to being this perfect person to do the work that I do in the world? And then you, when you're doing this exercise, you're asking the same question for yourself, right? So I needed the challenging family situation so I could help people with their challenging family situation so I could actually genuinely get it. Like if I'd had this lovely unconditional love, understanding of how amazing I was, that my worth was innate, I wouldn't have had to build my self-esteem from the ground up. I wouldn't have had to do all of this work, and I wouldn't be in a place to be able to help other people to do this work. If I hadn't been bullied, again, I wouldn't have had to pull myself up and out, but I wouldn't have that understanding and that appreciation of what it's like. And I wouldn't have the understanding and appreciation of how we move through and heal from this stuff because you can learn stuff in a textbook and you can learn stuff on a course and you can learn stuff wherever. But it's night and day from I have lived the experience of moving through and working through this stuff. And also, if I hadn't had the experience as a kid, of the lack of emotional support, of needing to be the mother, would I have developed the gifts of empathy, of intuition, of being able to read people, of being able to read people's emotions quite so much? Possibly not. The relationship with my body, that disconnect. If I hadn't been so disconnected, if I hadn't loathed myself so much that I treated myself in that way, how would I ever understand what the journey of really deeply learning to love and accept yourself looks like? How would I ever be able to walk someone through that stuff? So hopefully you're seeing through this how like our life is perfect. Our life journey is perfect to help us do what we came here to do. If I hadn't gone into a corporate workspace and it'd been an absolute toxic shit show, how could I be the person that's like, we need to change how the corporates exist? We need to fundamentally change it. We need to bring love into the workplace. We need to do all of these different things. If I'd had this perfect, lovely corporate experience, I'd have been like, well, no, corporates are fine. Rather than like, no, like, do we want to be robots in that space or do we want to bring some humanity in? So all the experiences, sometimes you look back and it's like, oh my God, it's all been so hard. But these experiences, when you follow the breadcrumbs, they're all leaving clues about what your work is here to do. People with big missions don't come into this world and have cozy, happy, lovely childhoods because we actually need to go through all of that shit to prepare ourselves for the work that we are here to do. And over 7 years now, I've done my healing work. I've done my big investments. I've done my training. I've done all of these things so that I can now help you walk through your mission in a much quicker way, much more efficiently, much more easily, because I understand and have embodied the steps. And if I can work through all of that and be here doing this, you can work through whatever your stuff is. You can transmute and alchemize that stuff to be doing whatever your mission is. So I can't wait to dive into. That's not what I meant. I can't wait to dive into this stuff with you to really help you understand how everything in your life led you to here And I will do a separate video just really walking you through in more detail this more kind of future journaling exercise of like, okay, well, now we know all of this about what's going on. What do we want to make it mean for the future, for your mission, for your next piece? But just for right now in this video, spend a little bit more time going through what is your hero's journey and really looking at how did all of these challenges prepare me for what I'm here to do. And then we will dive into this in more detail on the call. Right, any questions, let me know. Messenger group is there for anything that you need. And I will see you in the next video.